Hi, welcome to this first free training video that you have signed up for. My name is Desiree Steinmann, founder of Steinmann International and creator of the VIP team, business startup and young businesses on how to start and grow an authentic business and develop yourself as a business owner on the way. Today we're looking at one of the strategies that I use a lot with my clients, and it is a strategy that allows you to have a clear focus but also have a clear direction. And that sometimes is really difficult to do because focus is something that narrows your view, that where you kind of you get a laser sharp view on looking at that one thing that you need to look at. While the direction, you need to look more into the distance. You have to have a broader view, and those two worlds sometimes get into each other's way. So let's look at entrepreneurs, where this video is really for, just to look at who are they, like how do they usually function? What is their chemistry like? And entrepreneurs are very often people with lots of ideas. They see opportunity behind every corner. They have a conversation, say, oh, we could do this. Or they open up the website and they say, oh, there is a great idea. I could monetize on that, or I could create a business around this idea, right? So very often they're big creators of a lot of ideas. And that can get them sidetracked. That can get them distracted from actually following one all the way through until the end. Sometimes they're also very impatient. They have lots of ideas and then it doesn't work fast enough. And then they get impatient and restless and they lose momentum, they lose interest, and they get frustrated. So to understand that, it's really good then to have a strategy in play that allows you to stay on track, that allows you to be totally excited and a visionary, but yet also be somebody who is taking the action steps that are needed. And this is where this structure is really helping with this approach. And it's called big picture, small picture approach. And this is a strategy that I'm explaining to you now in a moment. It is a strategy that helps you to focus when you need to focus, but to also keep the direction in mind. So let's look, what is the big picture? What does that mean? The big picture is the picture where you have a vision, where you get clear on the vision. Now, a vision is important to not have sort of like a vague vision, not say like, oh, I want to be the best company in this segment, or I want to, I want to have the healthiest food, or I want to have the most happy clients, I want to impact the most people. That is not a vision. A vision needs to be a picture. You see, it's good to know that our brains think in pictures. They don't think in words and numbers. So whenever you want to be able to fully get it, to fully connect to something, you need to have a picture. You need to be able to have a picture for that. So look at Bill Gates, for instance. His vision for Microsoft was to have a computer on every desk. Now that's a picture I can see much better than we want to be the leading company in computer making, right? So I can visualize, well, now I don't need to visualize, I can just walk into an office today. Back then when Bill Gates had this vision, obviously this was not the case, but today you can walk in an office and on every desk you see a computer. I walk in homes and almost on every desk there is a computer. I go into an airplane and even there on every desk seems to be a computer, right? So that is something I can absolutely picture. And that is the picture that he had. These are the pictures that he had. And you can even develop a vision. A vision does not from the beginning has to be sort of like what it is at the end, because your vision could be a computer on every desk in my home country, in my city, right? It could be in my country, it could be on my continent, or it could be in the whole world, right? So a vision can also grow with you. While you achieve one, you can enlarge it and you can make it bigger. And that's really also the purpose of the vision, is not to shrink you to a place, but is to allow you to expand it anytime you feel like you can, anytime you feel compelled to enlarge your vision. So the vision needs to be very clear and needs to be very easy to visualize. And I often even tell people, you should even use your senses. You should taste it, you should feel it, you should hear it. The more senses you can actually incorporate in your visualization, the more compelling, the more magnetic it becomes. And that is really also one of the big purposes of a vision, is to A, have a very clear direction. B, you can communicate it so other people see the same picture, they feel drawn to it as well. But the other thing is also it gives you the motivation, it gives you the drive to pursue it, because it might take a while to get there. And while it takes a while to get there, you have good days and you have bad days. You have good times and you have bad times. And you need to have something that keeps pulling you forward. A good vision does not feel like it's hard work to get there. A good vision is almost like a magnetic force that pulls you there. Like every cell of your body wants to get there. And that is what a good vision is doing for you. So for the big picture, the first job is to really create a compelling, clear vision for yourself or for your business. And this is, so the big picture is really the why. It gives you the why are you doing this? Why are you setting up this business? Why do you put all your effort in there? And the why, you know, if you feel that you want to do that it's the right thing to do, what it does is it's usually aligned with your values. And that's one of the steps that I do with business owners or entrepreneurs as well, is to have an idea and then check in, what are my values that I live by, that I'm, you know, fighting for, and what are the company values that I want to put into place. And the more those are aligned, the more those fit together, the more authentic your business will be, and the stronger and more trusted you will come across for other people as well. And obviously you will feel much more strong about that business when it is aligned with your values than when it's not. Okay, so the big picture gives you the why. Steve Jobs had, in an interview, he said something really interesting, I thought. And that was, you know, they were asking him why he's so much successful than other businesses in that field. And he said, look, Apple is focusing on the why first. First, we identify why are we looking into that? Why do we want to do this? And once we have the why right, then we look into the how. You know, then we identify how can we do it. And this is what you know, this is why people perceive them also as something so special, right? I've never seen so many people saying, I love my iPhone. No other cell phone users say so often, I love my phone, right? With Apple, you have those. You have this with their products because the why is really aligned with the product and the company and the clients, you know, the customers. Now, what he said is Philips, for instance, is a how company. They figure out how something can be done, and they get often lost in detail, right? Because they don't have the big picture. They're working more in the how, and this is the small picture approach. We come to this in a minute. And by being stuck in the how approach, you often get lost in detail and lose the direction of where you really want to go with it, right? So the big picture is the why. It gives you a very clear why, and the big picture also allows you to dream big, you know, to think big. And thinking big means that it's way outside of your comfort zone. Now, the small picture approach is where you are here right now, while the big picture approach is really more where you want to head to. And if you can, you know, if you can think big, we all don't really live our potential fully. You know, if you look around, 98% do not fully live their potential. And we see this in situations where all of a sudden there's a big risk or something, we grow way beyond our capacity that we thought we're capable of. Or when there is a stressful situation, there's a chaos or something, all of a sudden we grow way beyond of what we thought capable of. And that gives us an inkling that there's so much more in us that we never really tap into, right? So the big picture approach allows us to think so much bigger. And when we think so much bigger, it's outside our comfort zone. And what it does is the more we do and act outside our comfort zone, the bigger it becomes. As an example, for instance, when I sat the first time in a car to drive it, you know, when I did my driving lessons, I was nervous. This was outside my comfort zone because I've never done it before, right? So if you haven't done it before, it's something you don't know. And when you don't know something, it's usually outside your comfort zone. So I was very concentrated on everything I needed to do. I didn't pay attention to anything around. I couldn't talk to anybody, and I couldn't really enjoy scenery or anything while I was driving. Now, you know, driving for a little while, for a few days and months and so on, all of a sudden I became more relaxed. I was comfortable in there, so I could talk, I could have a conversation, I could pay attention while I was driving to scenery. You know, I was already a bit more comfortable, right? Later on, I was able to drive foreign cars, you know, other people's cars or rental cars without getting, you know, without being too much stressed. And later on, I could even drive in other countries. So by acting, by doing things that are outside your comfort zone, you slowly enlarge your comfort zone. And that's the idea. The big picture, in the big picture, because it's not right now, I can actually allow to think myself to think much bigger because I don't have to fill these shoes right now. But what it also does is when I then put things into action, I slowly build my muscle. I slowly build my muscle because the comfort zone to stepping outside of it is like building a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. So to reach it, I can slowly now, step by step, enlarge my comfort zone until I arrive in my vision. So that's the big picture. It's the clear vision, understand the why, and think big. This is the big picture approach. Now, let's look at the small picture approach.